So let's start with a high-level overview. What is probate? And probate is a legal process that involves the execution of a will, or if there is no will, the administration of a deceased person's estate. And key tasks include securing assets, liquidating assets, settling debts, and distributing the remaining assets to the rightful heirs or beneficiaries. And we will jump into the administration phase. In the administration phase, this is, again, I mentioned in the um, appointment phase, you get your letters. So in the administration phase, now you can go to the bank, right? Remember, you wanted to go to the bank during the pre-probate phase. I said, no, wait till you get your letters. Now you have the letters. Now you're going to the bank in the administration phase and you're opening up an estate account and you're taking care of any other accounts. So maybe transferring money or closing accounts, closing the decedent's account. When you do that, if you don't have online banking, if you're closing their account and you don't have online banking, ask if you can get the records from the last 6 months or the last year. I like to do that for the court. When I'm personal representative, I like to get the records for the last year and just keep those in a PDF so that if the judge or someone in the family wants to see where the money went even before I had an estate account, I can go back and show them where the money came from that we put into the estate account and what money was going out of the decedent's personal account prior to that. When you open up the estate account, try to get the online banking. This will help you with your final inventory or your inventory and accounting, which will come at the closing phase. So if you can get the online banking, then there's a record of all the transactions you're doing. If you combine that with the records from the decedent's account before you closed it, you're going to have almost everything you need for the not the inventory accounting, but the final accounting at the end. Number 16, get estimates and appraisals. I could do a whole video just on this. As I mentioned earlier, I bring all of my families at least 3 offers. And a lot of times the judge will say that that will suffice in lieu of appraisals. And then if we're giving family the opportunity to purchase the home based on the highest offer, then a lot of times that'll keep the rest of the family happy as well. I will do the appraisal or have the family do the appraisal if the attorney and the judge insist. In some states, they do insist on an appraisal, or if it's a formal probate, they might insist on the appraisal. But you would be amazed how many cases and how many times it's really not necessary. People think it's completely necessary all the time. It's really not. We can get by with estimates and multiple offers in lieu of appraisals in many cases. If there is personal property, something like a gun collection or some kind of collectible china set, whatever someone in the family thinks is valuable, a lot of times I will get appraisals on that. And in that way, it helps justify to the court what we decided to do with it. But I don't get appraisals on everything. You don't have to get someone to come through the house. You can just ballpark, personal property, 5,000 or 10,000. The car, you can look it up online. The stocks and bonds, maybe they're not part of the estate because they had a beneficiary. The house is pretty easy, right? It's not as hard as people think, as long as you don't try to get specific appraisals for every single piece of personal property. Number one, it's not necessary. Number two, you will drive yourself crazy. Ask me how I know. Sorry. Number 17, you are going to sell the assets and pay off the debts. So this is the administration phase. This is where you are now liquidating assets and you're paying off the debts. And when you pay off the debts, you close the accounts. And as you go through it, if you're doing what I recommend, you're communicating with the rest of the family so they know what's going on, and you constantly have to resolve inheritance issues. This is important because at this point, people in the family have been waiting a long time. They want to know why they didn't get their check, why nothing's happening, right? You're working through this process in an orderly manner. They're just sitting there wondering why it's taking so long and why they didn't get their check and what the hell are you doing? Ask me how I know that. All right, number 19, I mentioned you're closing accounts as you're paying off debts. Again, if you haven't talked to the bank at this point, this is when you should be talking to the bank. Also, if the house is going into foreclosure because someone missed mortgage payments, you have your letters of administration. You should be working with the bank or the mortgage company at this point. And those are the administrative tasks. We could get a lot more detailed. I want to keep it high level for you. What's happening with the house at this point during the administration phase? This is when you're actually selling the house, right? So in the appointment phase, you decided your approach. You started getting some offers. Maybe you put the house on the market. You let family know that they can purchase the home if they want to. They were getting pre-approved and pre-qualified. Now it's the administration phase. It is time to sell the house. In many cases, you can, if you've been authorized by the court with your letters, you can sell the house. In some states, you still need to go back to the judge and get them to approve the sale. The myth here is that that's not true in every case. It is true in some. So you just need to make sure you know, and I mean, really know, don't just assume it. Like make sure you know whether you need the judge to approve the sale of the house or if your letters of administration are all you need. Because again, you could wait months to get a hearing only to find out that you didn't need the judge to sign off. You could do it yourself. So, and I see families make this mistake all the time and it costs them a lot of money. Or if they are working with an agent who doesn't understand the probate process, they're talking to the attorney to see if they can do it and they're waiting for the court and a court date. And in the meantime, the house is sitting there and you're paying the insurance and the utilities and racking up all kinds of expenses when the experienced agent could have just told you that you're authorized to sell the house. Save you a ton of money. Stop the utilities at this point. This is where it becomes more like the normal traditional process. You're at title closing and you're stopping the utilities. And hot tip here, number 22, if you're keeping the house in the family and the person who's taking it over, so let's say you live in the house and you're going to keep the house, you're not, and maybe you're the only heir, maybe there are no other heirs. So you live in the house, you're keeping the house, there is no mortgage, you're the only heir, and you just figured, okay, this is great, we're good to go. Even in a scenario like that, make sure you transfer the title. Even if the house is not, get the title transferred into your name before you complete the probate process. It'll save you so many headaches down the road. I can't tell you how many times I talked to people who decided to keep the house or keep the house in the family, but they didn't transfer the title. And they lived in it for years. They paid the taxes. In some cases, they paid the mortgage payment. They fixed the roof. They put in a new furnace. They did all these things. And then they want to sell the house and they find out that they have to go through some form of probate or shortened up version of probate, decree of descent or summary judgment or something else through the courts in order to transfer the title. And then when they go through that process, they have to notify other potential heirs and family members. And these people start popping up saying, hey, I want my cut of that house. When you took it over, it was worth 200,000 and today it's worth 600,000. I want my share. So just avoid that, right? Our goal is less stress. Transfer the title now. You will have much less stress further on down the road. What other tips do you have for administration phase? What other questions, comments, or concerns? Please leave them in the comments below.